Hey, it's Brent, and we are live. It is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you're having a good night out there, wherever you are watching from. So, we are live tonight. Like I said, tell me where you're watching this from. So, drop it in the comments. Let me know. Tonight, there's nothing to buy. This is absolutely free training. And by the end of this, you're going to know why you're not happy, and you're going to know how you can become happy. It's a huge promise, but I'm going to deliver tonight. This is my 30th year of teaching people how to unlock their mind power. So tonight we're going to take a deep dive. Most people, let me ask you, are you happy? Most people don't even know what happiness is anymore. It's such an elusive thing in our lives. And today, with the fast paced world, it is harder and harder. Most people in your entire life, how many times would you say you've been really, really happy? Just with all that rush of energy, deliriously happy. You can name them usually on two hands. They're the big moments in life. And it shouldn't be that way. Happiness is not an elusive thing. We have been trained completely wrong. And tonight, I'm going to set it straight. You are going to know exactly how to become happy in some easy, easy steps. All right. So sit back, relax, and get ready. It's Mind Power Secrets. All right, when you think about that, when you think about that question, you actually ask that question to yourself. Are you happy? Am I happy? And I can tell you the majority of us as a population, they aren't. All right. Happiness seems to elude everyone. It seems to be constantly ahead of us. We're always chasing after it, thinking that something, someone, somewhere is going to make us happy. And it is responsible for making us miserable. It's why we look for happiness in relationships and in new houses and in new jobs. And we're never satisfied because when we get the thing that we think we want, how long does that feeling of happiness last? Really? How long does it last? A few days, a week at most, and the next thing comes along. We are living completely the wrong way. I know. I grew up completely full of anxiety, always stressed out, and even touring the world in my early 20s. I didn't enjoy it. It was a miserable existence because of my stress and my anxiety and my self loathing. And happiness was just something that happened occasionally. And that's how it is for most people. So tonight, I'm going to tell you exactly why you're not happy. I'm going to tell you exactly how you can start becoming happy. And again, I'm here for you tonight. So you can watch this without worrying about a pitch coming at the end. There's nothing here to buy. I'm giving you this tonight because we're in such precarious times. And I've been doing this for 30 years. And usually I'm working with millionaires and celebrities and professional athletes, but they don't need this information, right? They have nannies and accountants and assistants and people to do all of their everyday chores of existence. But what about the masses who have to work and have to raise a family and have to do all of those things completely alone? Those are the people that need this information, that need this knowledge, that need to understand exactly how the human mind works and why we've been allowing it to work against us for so long. You have let your mind become an enemy. It's become an evil entity inside your head. I call it the bitchy roommate. You're trapped somewhere with this voice that never stops, this voice that's constantly negative, this voice that's telling you all the horrible things you've done and how you should never try anything in the future because you're going to fail. In fact, no one in the history of the world has ever committed suicide without the voice telling them to. That's how much of an enemy your mind can become if you let it. We are so used to laying down and let the mind control us. And we're thinking we're the servant to the mind, and it's the other way around. But since we've been kids, we've let it go the other way. So what can you do to get a hold of this? What's the first thing you need to do? You need to understand why you're not happy, right? You need to understand that looking for happiness everywhere else is never going to attain it for you because it's a fleeting thing. And you're basing happiness on an outcome that may or may not happen. But even if it happens exactly the way that you want, it's never going to give you lasting happiness because something else is going to come along. So the way to do things is to understand first why you're not happy already. Then you can start making those changes. And everything that I teach, and I've been teaching all these years, is not only easy to understand and easy to implement, but you immediately start to see success. You start to see things working in your favor. You start to see changes that are happening, and that becomes rocket fuel for your success, because you need to see that this isn't a pipe dream, that this isn't someone telling you something that they've read somewhere or that they've made up. You have to understand that people who've done this before, successful people, people who have taken control of that voice in their head, those people, you can follow their path. So instead of going your own way and trying to go through years of failing and losing and figuring it out, what if you followed a successful plan, a successful program, a successful, and again, there's nothing to buy, but a successful track record, and watched someone else, the footsteps leave footprints, right? It's people who have done these things and have become successful in their life. And I don't just mean success as in money, but people that are really successful, they have success in relationships, they have success in health, they have success in all of the things that are important to them. And we've taken this abundance and success to mean just money. And we know how hollow that is. We know that that does not give you happiness, because if it did, you'd never see successful, wealthy people committing suicide. You'd never see all of the drama that goes on with that. Somebody gets one part of the puzzle, but they're missing something else, because happiness becomes elusive. Happiness becomes not where we are, because what we do as as humanity is we always think happiness is somewhere else. It's never where we are. Happiness is going to be when I get that new job. Happiness is going to be when I get a smaller butt. Happiness is going to be when I meet the right person. Now, what that does is it puts happiness ahead of you constantly. So you're chasing it all of your life. Because happiness, just like confidence, just like courage, just like all the important things in life, those are inner things. Those are things that you have to grant yourself. Think about it logically, all right? And you'll know that it's true. You can't go out and buy confidence. You're not going to go out and buy a pound of love, all right? Those are things that are inner world things. Things you have to grant yourself. And that way, it changes the entire spectrum. It changes you chasing happiness to putting happiness where you are, and then things around you change. And that's what successful people do. That's what successful people understand. So let's get into it from the beginning. When we're children, we are blank slates, okay? Everything is amazing. We can go out, we play, we become astronauts, we become princesses, we become superheroes. And when we're happy, we laugh. And when we're sad, we cry, right? And everything is just amazing. But then we start to get programmed by the people all around us. And not in a Dr. Evil, malicious way most of the time, but we're getting programmed by our parents. We're getting programmed by teachers. We're getting programmed by the government, by media, by what we watch and what we see and what our family teaches us, and from their family trauma and generational trauma. So the first 8 years of our life as a child, it's like you've got a digital recorder inside your head. Now, I used to say tape recorder, but a lot of the younger people don't know what that is. So we'll just say digital recorder. But I want you to imagine this. I'll make it super easy. All right. The first 10 years of your life, there's a digital recorder in your head. All right. It's recording everything. It's recording everything you do. It's recording everything you see, everything you hear, everything you feel, everything you like, everything you don't like. And then one day, about 8.5, that digital recorder stops. It can't record anymore. It's full. And now, for the rest of your life, whatever is recorded there, that is the information that you're going to be living. That is the old, whenever you're trying to solve a problem, you can only pull from the knowledge that you have, right? That old, rusty, out-of-date program was created when you weren't logical, when you weren't mature, when you were just a kid. And now, for the rest of your life, that's the tape that's going to run in your head when you're on autopilot. Now, for most people, and this is terrifying, but it's true, we're on autopilot 80% of the day. Think about it. 80% of the day. Your subconscious is in complete control. That means you're completely unaware of what is going on up there. In that 80%, we spend 40% of our time in the past. Now, this is one of those things, logically, there's no benefit to that. You can't change it. It's already happened. There's nothing you can do about it. But there are people who literally live in their past. They wish they could have changed things, and they figure out all the ways if they had done this differently, then that wouldn't have happened, and on and on and on. But nothing can be changed. So spending your time there is destroying your current life. It's destroying your current chance at ever being happy, because you're too worried about the past, about trying to change things, about wishing and hoping that you hadn't done certain things or had done certain things. Those things can never impact your life in any positive way. All right? But we spend 40% of the day there. So how do we get the other 40% that gets us to 80? Well, we spend 40% of our time in the future as well, worrying about all the things that we are so afraid is going to happen to us. All right? That takes up 40% in the past, 40% in the future. That leaves us what? My math friends out there, 20% to be in this moment. And that's the magic. This is the only moment that matters. This is the moment you can make real change in your life. This is the moment. It's not anywhere else. It's not in the past. It's not in the future. It's only now. But we don't see that. We don't want this moment, right? We always want the next moment. This moment, say you're pouring yourself a cup of coffee. You don't want this moment, right? You want to drink the coffee. That's in the next moment. It's Wednesday, and you're about to have a great big weekend, go out to some parties, have some fun. You don't want it to be Wednesday. You want it to be Friday, 5 p.m. That's what we do. We wish our life away. We wish things. We wish we could change things. We try to manipulate the future. We never appreciate the moment. And this moment is the moment. I mean, think about it. Again, just be logical about it. When the past was happening, it was in this moment. All right? When the future gets here, it's going to be in this moment. So this portal is the only time you can do anything. But we never do. We'd much rather be in the past or the future. And what that does, it sets you up for failure immediately. You're fighting against the universe. You're fighting against the things that happened to you in the past, the old thought patterns of the past. You're never letting yourself break out of this programming, because every day you are reiterating it. You are making it more solid. You are building those neural pathways inside your mind because you're living in a program. I did a video the other day. Somebody asked me in a radio interview last week, are we living in the Matrix? We're living in the Matrix for the fact that no one is seeing reality. Not one person. It's like we're all in our own movie. All right. And again, I like to be logical. I hate these coaches and teachers that try to teach this so hard to grasp concepts and elusive things. I'm telling you, if you think about it, you can be logical about things. All right. That we have created this version of ourselves. We've created this ego. We've created this false us that we've done over time. I'm the kind of person that does this. Boys do this, girls don't do that. We've created this inside of our mind. We've created this ego. We've created this whole mental formation that's an illusion. So everything that's ever happened to you, all the good things, all the bad things, that colors the way you see reality. Again, be logical. You only have your past to draw from. So when you're looking at the current world, you're seeing reality. Now remember, it's not like we just have windows and we're looking out and seeing things. That's not how it works. The entire outer world comes into our mind by electrical impulses and then is reassembled inside. So imagine it's like you're sitting up there looking at a flat screen and you're watching a picture, because you're not just seeing reality. You're seeing reality as it comes back and is reformulated inside your mind. So what happens is you're seeing reality through the lens of your past. So if you're walking down the street with two of your friends and there's two people walking towards you, and one of those people looks like the father that abused you when you were a child. Now, you're freaking out inside, right? The other two people, they feel fine. You're looking at reality through your past. It's making you think of something from the past. Your mind is trying to protect you. So it's giving you all, it's telling you the things. It's like fight or flight. Whenever something happens dangerous and it's like live or die, you're confronted by a mountain lion. Okay, you go into fight or flight. Are you going to run? Are you going to fight? What are you going to do? That's not meant to be a state that we live in, but we do. That is supposed to be something life-threatening is happening, and how are we going to deal with it? But over time, over generations, over thousands of years, we have made fight or flight the state that we live in. It's our default state. It's why there's so much stress, there's so much anxiety. It's mostly self-created because you're keeping it going. Not only are you always worried about the past, but you're literally living in the past because every day when you wake up, you're continuing the same crap from the day before, right? So what do you do about it? You have to first understand, again, how you got here. And you got here by deciding what you like and what you don't like, what you want and what you don't want. That is why you're unhappy. If you take it down to the base level, think about it. That's what it is. You have decided your entire life what scares you, what makes you happy, what you hate, what you love, what you need to feel good, what you don't want in your life, and you want to see reality fit the way you want it to be. So what that does, it's like you're on a raft and you're paddling and it's crazy and there's spray everywhere and you're exhausted and all you've got to do is turn around and drop the oar and just float with the water. But that's not what we do. We all fight the stream. We all fight the stream of life because we don't like it, because we're afraid of it, because we don't accept it for whatever reason. We think it needs to be this way, all right, which is crazy. One of the things I love about Michael Singer, his teaching, and Michael Singer wrote The Untethered Soul, he wrote The Surrender Experiment, but the idea that the world is happening around you, right? And you don't like it. For whatever reason, you're unhappy with it. It's not what you wanted. You're going on a picnic today and it's raining. So now you're an adversary with what's happening because things have to be a certain way. That's how we think happiness comes. When I get all the things that I want, when I do all the things that I want to do, then I can finally be happy. Like it's some destination out there, right? What if you were happy first and everything you did came from happiness? It changes everything because happiness is something that you chase otherwise, just like I said, and you never seem to find it. So having preference it sounds so simple, but by spending your life deciding what you want and what you don't want, you have set up a system you're going to lose, right? Because the world, no matter what we think about it, no matter what we think about the way the world is right now, it's perfect for the fact that it's here because of all the things that happened in the past, right? If your great grandparents never met each other, you would not be here watching this today, right? If the things that happened for billions and billions of years didn't happen exactly as they did, we would not be here. And it's amazing because each one of us, it's like we're watching our own movie. There are billions and billions of movies going on at the same time. Think about it. Nobody in the history of forever will ever or has ever had the same experiences. It's impossible. You are here in this moment. This is what you're seeing. Nobody else is seeing this, right? And there's a different moment if you look this way, if you look up here, if you look down here, over here. Those are different moments. There are zillions of moments happening simultaneously. How many of them do we see? How many are we aware of, right? This one, our own personal view of creation. Here we are. But what do? I don't like it. I don't want it. It's raining today. I don't want this. I have to do that project at school. I don't want to do this. We fight the moment. Okay. And I'm not saying something horrible is happening and you have to accept the moment. It's not surrender with a white flag, It's surrendering to the fact that the moment is here. So whether you like it or not, you have to accept it first. Then you can make change if you want. You can become an activist as long as you're doing it from the right place. But you have to understand that it is here and to fight it, which so many people do, fighting the moment, not wanting the moment, trying to twist and turn the moment. We spend our lives, think about it, not just enjoying what's happening. We are trying to twist things to be the way we want them to be. So if we're in a relationship, the other person better be the way we like. They better not touch on the things we get upset by, right? And if anything changes, it changes the way you feel about the person because you put your expectation of happiness in someone else, in another place, in another job, in whatever. And we do that with so many different things. So preference is huge. Understanding that you've done this is big, right? You have a very long list of things that you like and you don't like, right? And they come into play each and every day. So remember, you're not seeing true reality. You're seeing reality through the lens of the past. And by knowing that, you've just been given a huge gift because you understand when things pop up, when things make you uncomfortable, those are red flags. Those are gifts to you. Those are the things you need to look at because we've built this false us inside our mind. We've built this person that doesn't exist. That's why we act differently around different people, when I have different friend groups, family members, people that we go to school with, our good friends. They never see the real person. They only see a part of it or the part of it that you want to show. You're putting on an act all of the time. We're always worried what other people think. And I was the worst with this, constantly. No matter what I did, no matter how successful I became, and I have been on the road touring the world since I was in my 20s, early 20s, but never satisfied, always unhappy, always anxious, always wondering why I felt so uncomfortable and so discontent, and again, thinking happiness was something that I had to earn. Okay, I had to do something. I thought when I got the big house, I would be happy. Got the big house, was happy for a week, wasn't happy after that. And that was the big realization in my early 20s that, holy crap, this is my whole life. It was about money, about making money. It was about, getting the house, getting the sports car, doing all of those things. And when you base everything on that, and then you achieve that, and you find out it's just BS, that's when I started popping pain pills, started drinking, started doing all of that crap because you're masking it. That's what we're all doing. We're masking the fact that we're not okay because that's what we all want. We want to be okay in our skin. We want to be okay inside. So we'll mask it with alcohol, with drugs, with mint chocolate chip ice cream, whatever it is. We all do that because we're not okay with ourselves. We're not okay inside. And then we always try to change everybody else. This person has to be the way I want them, right? When you're not happy with yourself, you try to change other people. When you're not happy with yourself, you try to change the outer world. So I want you to imagine this. We are living in two worlds at the same time, all right? You have your inner world, which is thoughts and ideas and emotions, right? And then you have the outer world, which is physical matter and other people. We think that the outer world is primary. We think that is what's important. We think the inner world is secondary, but it's completely backwards. Those two worlds are connected to each other. If we were sitting if I was on stage right now, giving a lecture or a seminar or one of my shows, and you were sitting in the audience watching me, it's very easy if you wanted to, you could just tune me out. Now, maybe you're not going to leave the room. You don't want to be rude, but I bore you. So I'm on stage and I'm talking and you're sitting in your seat and you're looking up there, but you're not hearing me. You're thinking about what you're going to have for dinner later. You're thinking about the argument you had with your wife last night and what you're going to say to her tonight when you get home. You're literally arguing inside your mind. You're creating a fictitious argument where you're doing your part, you're doing her part. She's going to say this and I'm going to say that. And you're literally putting yourself through all the emotions, all of the feelings, all of the stress. for nothing. Your body doesn't know the difference. Your body doesn't know if you're doing something or if you're thinking about it. That's why sports psychologists, when they get hired by sports teams and athletes, what they're doing is training those athletes to run the race, play the game inside their mind over and over, see themselves being successful, because your body, your mind doesn't know the difference between doing it and thinking about it. All of the same endorphins, all of the same muscles, everything fires the same. Okay? So, let's break it down. All right? What's the first thing you need to do? What is the very first thing you have to bring into your life if you want to change this? The first thing is awareness. Okay? You have the most amazing supercomputer ever invented. We all have one. We're all given one when we're born. And when you buy a toaster or a microwave or a cell phone or anything nowadays, you get a manual that tells you exactly how to use it. You have the most sophisticated supercomputer ever devised right up here. We're all born with one, standard issue. We have no idea how it works. Nobody ever tells us. It's like, figure it out for yourself. You get a manual for everything you ever buy, but the one thing that could change your life, figure it out completely on your own. So, awareness is huge. Awareness is the very first thing. There's only 3 things that you need to do. There's 3 things. If you take these 3 things and you implement them in your life tonight, tomorrow morning, you will transform everything. I promise you. Because most people are sleepwalking. Most people are walking through their life completely oblivious to what's happening. That the fact that there's so much more. The fact that you're not supposed to be stressed and anxious all the time. The fact that happiness is not somewhere out there. Happiness is an inner thing. So again, 2 worlds, right? Happiness is inside. You can't go buy it. You can't trade for it. You can't cheat yourself into it. It's something you have to grant yourself. You have to become one with yourself. You have to become aware of what is on your mind. And I'm going to give you a tip. I teach this in seminars and in speeches all of the time because people want some action steps, some things you can do right now. So I say this: go to the store tomorrow, buy a pack of Post-it notes. Okay? All you need for this, you need a pack of Post-it notes and you need a little spiral notebook and a marker or pen or pencil, anything. That's all you need. All right? So that's what you're going to do. You buy that spiral notebook, small, so you can keep it in your pocket. You buy a pen or marker, and you buy the Post-it notes. Now, what you're going to do, you've got a voice talking inside your head. You've got a voice narrating your life. So what you're going to do is you name the voice. All right? I named my voice Carl a long time ago. It's funny. You name yours anything you want. But it sounds very childish. But I've been doing this, teaching this for over 20 years, and there's a reason that it works. It works because we think that voice is true. We think that's the voice of God. That's the voice of the future. That's us. And it's not. That voice is just the conditioned past. That voice is just a mechanism. And that voice can only give you information on what you've accumulated before. You can't make a decision. If you're making a decision about something that's happening now, and you have to make it from what you've gone through in the past, how screwed up is that? That's what we're all doing. Think about it. It's terrifying. That is what we're all doing. Okay? So, you name the voice in your head. When the voice starts talking, and of course we know it will, if you don't think you have a voice in your head, have it say hello right now. Have it say hello louder right now. Right? There are 2 voices inside. You have the voice that you can make talk. Okay? So if you're trying to think of someone's name, you're going into the past for something useful, right? Something you need to figure out from the past, you can make that voice talk. All right? But then there's also the voice that just starts talking. There's the voice when you're driving that says, remember that time in 3rd grade when you peed your pants and was so embarrassed? All of the feelings come back. The embarrassment, your cheeks get red, right? If you have anything like that in your past, and we all do, we have thousands of things like that, thousands of things we don't like that we've stored inside, right? Those things pop back up. They pop up with all of the feeling that you put them away with, because that's just energy. That is energy that's trying to pass through. It's been trying to pass through you since that event happened. But because it's uncomfortable for you, you've stored it because we don't want it. We repress it. We hold it down. But in order to do that, you're using willpower. That's what's holding it inside you. Every time the feelings rush back, the thoughts rush back, that is the energy trying to get away again. What do? Nope. Push it right back down. And you know people like this. When you are talking to someone and they say, don't go there with me, you know what that means? You're getting very close to their stuff, I like to call it. All of the crap that they've stored inside. And we all have it. We all have our own array of crap. And it's not just the bad things, okay? It's not just the horrible, embarrassing, negative breakups, all of that. It's also the really good things, because we don't want to let those feelings go either, right? You would think logically, if you didn't want something, if it wasn't something that you enjoyed, if it's something that scared you, you wouldn't store it in you, but you have. It's like an episode of Hoarders. You have this, when you're a child, it's just wide open mind. Again, you're playing, you can become anything, you have an amazing imagination, and then you start getting programmed, you start being around the adults, you start to get, our family does this, rich people are greedy, boys can't do that, girls can only do this, whatever that programming is, all gets put in there, all right? So, the voice, the mechanism is just the conditioned past. It's there to protect you. Again, when it's fight or flight, that mind can say, okay, this is similar to this situation in the past. Back in the day, when we were cavemen, right? What do? You're in the cave. You go out. You hunt whenever you're hungry. You procreate. It gets dark. You go to sleep. Whatever, right? But if something were to happen that was death-defying, you walk out of the cave and there's a mountain lion there. You go into fight or flight mode. Then your body, all of the systems are activated. Okay? Blood pumps to the parts of your body. Are you going to have to run? Are you going to have to fight? Things shut down that you don't need. But it's not meant to be a state that we live in. Okay? So, the voice is triggered by things in the present that are similar to something in the past. So, again, you only have your past to draw from. You don't have anyone else's. You don't have any other experience. All you've ever experienced is you inside this meat suit, living this life. You're a soul down here on earth learning, and you're inside this body, right? We're not a human being with a soul. We're a soul that are inside this human body. The mind is so powerful. And again, when we're children, we know it, but that all gets pushed out of us over time. So, becoming aware of it. You got those Post-it notes. You got the spiral notebook. You got your pen, and you've named the voice. And again, you do that because it takes the sting away. When the voice starts talking, you just laugh and you say, there goes Carl again. There goes Esmeralda again. There goes whoever again. And it takes all of the charge away, all of the power away, because it isn't the voice of the future. It's not the voice of God. It isn't you. It is old crap from your past that is triggered by what's happening in the present. So, by naming it and looking at it like a child, that voice, to me, Carl is just a petulant child. It's a child who's not getting his way. It's a child who is immature, right? And is angry. It takes the sting away. It's like anything, usually you'll find those big, terrifying, frightening things that we're afraid to confront in our life. When you drag those into the light, they disappear. They break down because they're not made for that kind of scrutiny. These things, these thought patterns, these belief systems, they were created when we were immature, when we were children. Now you're an adult. It's your responsibility. It's my responsibility. It's an individual thing, but it's our responsibility to figure out what that programming is, what we want to change, and to be able to live the life that we want. Because right now we're programmed to live whatever life you've been living. You're going to get up tomorrow and you're going to continue that life. Your belief patterns, your thought patterns are going to cement that into reality. And every day is a repeat of yesterday. So you're living in the past. You are living in the past because tomorrow is going to be today, is going to be the day before. That's what we do. So you've named the voice inside your mind. Give it a name. Make it a funny name. Now, when the voice starts, and you'll start to notice it more and more and more, when it starts talking, when you hear the voice inside your head, you can start thinking, how illogical that is, how humorous that is, right? So let that happen for a few days. And then you're going to take those post-it notes that I told you about, right? And what you're going to do is take a few of them, take 6 of them, 8 of them, and on each one, I want you to write the name of the name that you've named the voice in your head. So again, in my case, it would be Carl, but whatever it is for you, you write that name on each one of those post-it notes, all right? Then you put them around the house. You put one in the car. You put one at the office. You put one inside the trunk, wherever. And now, for a week or two, all you got to do, this is your assignment. It's super easy. Whenever you're going about your day-to-day life, you're on autopilot most of the time, right? But now you see that post-it note. You see the name, and you stop immediately. It's your trigger to stop. You take out the pad, you write down what your mind is saying at that moment. That's the only way you're going to start figuring it out because it's happening in the background. It's like a program running in the background of your computer. You don't even know what's going on. You're in this, and you're not in this moment. You're in some other moment. You're lost in the past or the future. You're not living in the now anyway, but your subconscious is running that old rusty tape. You're not good enough. You're too fat. You're too this. You're too that. I've got to have this. I don't want that. That's all running all of the time. So by seeing the post-it note, that's your trigger. Stop. What am I thinking right now? Write it down immediately. And the trick is no judgment. You can't be mad at yourself. You can't say, why am I still thinking about that? You can't get upset. That's a deal you're going to have to make with yourself. Just the awareness is going to get you very close to an awakening, very close to starting to live the life that you want. Just becoming aware of what's on your mind. Because when you start to figure it out, when you start to hear it, when you start to see it wrote down, because the best thing is at the end of the week or the 2 weeks, take the pad out and start reading what you wrote. It is the most moronic bunch of BS that makes no sense anymore and no longer has any right in your life. It no longer serves you. And you start to break the hold it has on you. All that takes is awareness. It doesn't take anything else. I tell people all the time, you don't have to buy a $10,000 course. It's so enraging, the amount of people trying to sell you all of these things. It's inside. What you need is inside you. It's your God-given birthright. You were born with this ability. But you, and you alone, you can blame whoever you want, but you've got to know as an adult where you are right now. You got to take responsibility for where you are. And that's how you get out of this predicament. Awareness. The first key, knowing what is going on inside your mind. Because then you'll start to see all of these things that you've placed in there, things that you hate, things that you really love, things that you don't want to happen again. Those will start to lose their hold on you, okay? So awareness is the very first thing. What's the next thing that you need to do? I told you 3 things, only 3, to complete happiness. And I'm going to give all 3 of them to you. I'm going to tell you exactly how to do each one. So for the first, all you need is the stack of Post-it notes, a pen, and a pad. How hard is that? That's it. Nothing to buy, nowhere to go. You don't have to meditate in a cave for a year. You don't have to go to India and go with a master. Everything you need is already inside you for everything that we're going to talk about here today. Okay, so you've conquered now awareness. You're becoming more aware of what's going on in your mind. So already you're ahead of 90% of the population because most people go through their entire life and never know that there's more. They never understand how powerful they are. They just don't get it. It's like they were born and they died in a tunnel without realizing there was anything on the outside. So after awareness, what's next? You got it. It's belief. Now, the book that changed my life when I was 10 years old, I started out, most people know, as a magician. And I was a little tubby, only child who wanted to be a magician, right? I used to love David Copperfield when I was a kid. That's not me, right? Good-looking guy, wind in his hair, and here's me. So I would take out magic books from the library. And one Saturday, I got a copy of a book that was on the shelf. It was just put in the wrong place. It was The Magic of Believing. And it was all about the power of the mind and the power of belief and how that can transform your life. And even at 10, I knew, wow, there is something here, right? And I came back to that over and over. So many celebrities I worked with, their entire career They give to the magic of believing. Joan Rivers was a big proponent. Phyllis Diller, she said that it changed her entire life. It created her career because she started to believe in herself. Because think about it, if you don't believe in yourself, no one is ever going to believe in you. It has to come from yourself first. We're always waiting, again, for something on the outside, something to happen, and we react to it. Somebody to tell us that we're worthy, that they believe in us. We never believe in ourselves. Now, some people, you see somebody walk into a room and they're magnetic and they draw your attention. Those people, and it's not always just amazing looking people. Some people, it's just the way that they are okay with themselves. That shines through. And I don't mean somebody who's delusional, because we've seen those people who have all this confidence for no reason, right? But somebody who is okay with themselves, in touch with themselves, okay inside, they're magnetic. Other people are drawn to that. And you know why they are? Because we all want to be okay. That's really what it boils down to here. Happiness is being okay in your own skin, being okay within yourself. That's really what it is. And if I told you, you can have whatever you want, what do you think is going to make you happy? And I said, write down 5 things and I'll grant them to you. Magically, I can grant your wish through this computer screen today. What would you write down? I don't have to be psychic. I can tell you most people are going to write down, they want $50 million or whatever amount of money. They want a home. They want a gorgeous spouse that, dotes on them 24/7. And why do they want those things? Why do you want those things? Do you know? Because you think they're going to make you okay. It's not the thing that's going to make you happy. You think being in possession of the thing or having that thing will somehow magically make you happy. The car is going to make you happy, right? So if that was true, and I said, okay, you want $50 million, we can do that. Bam. I'm going to give you $50 million in cash. And it's completely yours, no strings attached. But I'm going to drop you on a deserted island, and then I'm going to drop the money, and you're there for the rest of your life. Nothing to buy, no one to talk to, but you've got that money. Do you still want it? No, I bet you don't. Because it's not the money that you want. You want to be okay. You want what you think the money is going to give you, which are only things you can grant yourself. Anytime you put them in something else, there's a condition to your happiness. If you put it in another person, you found the love of your life, and that's great. But if you found the love of your life and you're okay with yourself, and then you find the love of your life, how many loves of your life have you had? Because many people have so many. Because they're not happy and they're searching for that in someone else. And what pressure to put on another person? You're expecting them to make you happy. And then one day they, slurp their soup or something, and it reminds you of the last person, and now you don't love them as much. And it's true. Because you have placed happiness on a person. Now, what happens if that person dies? What happens if that person leaves you? If happiness is attached to them, then your entire world goes upside down. Again, that's what we do when we place it on a job, on a person, on an amount of money, on whatever it is. And that's how we live our life. So belief is paramount. Belief is mission critical. Belief is so important that people, you just don't get it, because it's not just self-esteem. It's being okay in your body. It's being okay with not worrying about what other people are saying. That comes from starting to become aware, starting to realize these little things that make no sense. And I'll tell you this, you've taken hundreds of thousands of things and you've stored them inside. Most of them are things you don't like, or embarrassing things that happened, or negative events. Very few of them are happy things. Those are things like the first kiss, the honeymoon, the very first car you ever had, the new car smell. There's a handful of them in your entire life. The moments that, just knock you out, stops the voice in your head. Many times it was like I was dumbstruck. I was awestruck. What's that mean? It means it was so amazing that the voice stopped for a moment, right? You turn around the corner and there's a gorgeous sunset, the most beautiful sunset you've ever seen. Purples and oranges and yellows and reds. And it's so mind-blowing that your mind actually stops for a moment, right? That's what's happening all the time. But we've clogged all of that up with all of these negative, toxic memories and emotions. And because we've stored them with pain, they come up with pain. They try to release with pain. And we are uncomfortable and we push them away. We push them down. But every time that something like that works its way up and you let it go, because now it's not logical, when you bring awareness to it, when that leaves you finally, that little bit of willpower that you had to use to hold it in comes back to you. It comes back home, which is so beautiful. It comes back. Then you focus it where it matters. That's how you start to change things. You start to realize I've got thousands of things stored in me. And when the red flags appear and those feelings come up, because you've taken the thought, whatever the reality was at the moment, and the emotion, connected them together, put them away. So now, say you broke up with your girlfriend. She drives a red Ford Bronco. Now you're driving down the highway, feeling great, and you see a red Ford Bronco. All the feelings rush back. All the thoughts come back, right? Sometimes maybe it's not even red. Maybe it's just a Bronco. Or you see the back of a girl that looks like your girl, whatever. All of the feelings rush back. You get flushed. Your stomach gets upset. Your chest gets tight. That energy is trying to leave. It wants to pass through. It's transient. It's energy. That's what we are. That's what everything is. It's vibrating energy. Look it up scientifically. Nothing is solid. If you look at it close enough, you'll see it's just waves of energy. So are emotions. So are thoughts. So are things that are experiences. They're meant to go through. But it gets uncomfortable and we push it down. So instead of that energy being able to pass through and be gone, we've taken it, hoarded it. And we do that with thousands and thousands of things over our entire life. So now, as an adult, every time anything triggers anything you've stored, it comes rushing back. That's what's keeping us from being happy. That's what's keeping you from believing in yourself. That's what allows your mind to tell you all the horrible things that happened in the past, all the horrible things that are going to happen in the future, and undermines you. Your mind doesn't want to be trained. It is used to running the show. Okay? But you are in charge. You just don't know it. So belief comes automatically. Once you start becoming aware, this is a step-by-step process. Like I said, I'm telling you exactly the steps. Because if you do any of these out of order, it's not going to work. Because the awareness is going to create the ability for these things to come up, these things to start leaving you, that energy to return back to you. It's going to start seeing, you're going to start seeing the success. You're going to start seeing that this is working. Then the belief starts to ratchet up because of it. Okay? Trying to tell someone to just believe, just go in there with positive thinking when you're living in squalor, it's not going to work. Because you have to see something. You have to see even a tiny bit that it's working. All right? And awareness will get you 70% of the way. Belief will get you 10% of the way. You're getting so close. All right? So awareness, what's the voice saying inside your mind? As many times of the day as you can stop and figure out what's on your mind, write it down. That will change your life. And I'll tell you what, nobody is ever aware of what's happening most of the time. If I had a pocket on each side of the shirt and I had a quarter in my pocket in the left side, okay? And every 15 minutes I moved the quarter from one pocket to the other and then I moved it back. I would be an enlightened super being over time. Because do you know what the concentration that takes? To do that every 15 minutes over and over and over and over again. Because you're pushing yourself into the moment. You're pushing your consciousness into the only moment that matters. Okay? Awareness, belief, that's the second thing. There's only one more. You start to become aware of what the voice is saying. You start to believe in yourself. You start to believe in your ability. You start to believe in your right to have the things that you want. And then connection. It's ABC. There's only three things. And the C is connection. Now, excuse me, connection could mean a couple of things. If you're watching this and you're wondering, right away people think, okay, we're all connected. And that's true. We've been divided. Society divides us. People in charge divide us. Gay, straight, black, white, man, woman. It's all just BS. We're actually connected. Not only are we connected to each other, but we're all connected to the universal consciousness. We each have an individual consciousness, an individual mind of our own. Say it's the size of a ping pong ball. Then there is universal consciousness. There is the consciousness of everyone that is connected together. Connecting to that changes everything. It allows you to ask yourself questions and get answers. It allows you to know the next step that you need to take. Nothing is outside of you that you really need. It's all an inner game, but we're all afraid because it forces us to connect with ourselves, to connect with the voice that's always taunting us, right? This voice inside your head knows everything you've ever done. It knows everything you've ever done bad, everything you've never been caught doing, everything that if someone found out, you would just die. And guess what? That voice will use that against you in an argument. I mean, you're literally arguing inside your mind, both parts usually. That voice is taking both sides. It'll take both sides of the argument. All right? So the fact that we're all connected to each other is true. And the fact that we're connected to each other is really deep. That's a deep teaching. But that's not what I'm talking about here, because the most important connection for what we're talking about, and that is to be okay with yourself, to create happiness, lasting, true happiness, is the connection that you have with yourself. The connection that you have with yourself is more important than anything else because, like I said, it's an inner game. The inner reality is paramount. It is primary reality, not this outer world, which is all just BS. All of the things we think matter. All of the things that we really hold deep are inner things. So, in order to make that connection with ourselves, what do we need to do? It's the last thing I'm going to teach you. This is all you need to know. You have to do something where you sit in silence. You have to do something where you tune out the outside world, where you put down your phone, where you sit and allow yourself to connect to your inner you, to the soul you, to the you that knows the answers. And the only way to do that is by meditation, contemplation, prayer, chanting, something where you're in a room, sitting by yourself with no external stimuli, and you are allowing yourself to go within. If you look at every major religious text, it always talks about the kingdom is inside you. It talks about the fact that it's an inner game and we're all playing it completely backwards because sitting in silence connects you with yourself. I can't put it any easier than that. So what do? If you've never meditated before or you think you can't meditate, when I started meditating years ago, I couldn't sit still for more than a minute. Because immediately your mind starts talking, your arm is sore, your butt is tired. What am I having for lunch? It's always something. There's a reason. Because again, your mind does not want to be trained. It is used to having the run of the show. It's used to being the crazy monkey in the cage up there. And as soon as you start laying down the law, it's going to fight back. It's going to tell you all the reasons it's never going to work. So when you sit down to meditate, it's going to tell you right away, that guy, that bald dude on the computer was so full of crap. Why are we doing this? This is a waste of our time. That's what's going to happen. But guess what? You do it anyway. Because over time, that voice, that mechanism, that cloudy mechanism of the past is going to start to take a back seat. Because it's going to know that you're not going to let it out of it. And the way you do that is by sticking to it. So even if you have to start with 3 minutes, okay? You commit to those 3 minutes. If you can do it twice a day, morning and evening, I do 40 minutes twice a day because it's so amazing and it's so deep. It's like a vacation because it recharges your system, your nervous system. Meditation is a tool that's been used for thousands and thousands of years. But today, in the fast-paced world with 7-second attention span, it is almost impossible to spend any time with yourself. And without it, you're not going to get there. I'm sorry, there's no magic pill. There's no secret incantation. You're not going to become the person you want to be tomorrow morning by dreaming about it tonight. That's why the law of attraction works for the fact that what you're thinking about most, what you're putting feeling into, you're bringing into your existence. You know that with negative people. They live in negativity. Horrible negative things happen to these people. They're always sick, right? That is because the law of attraction is very real, but they've taken it and they've taken this and they've named it the law of attraction. They've made you think that by sitting on the sofa and dreaming about your Ferrari and seeing yourself driving it, that you're going to go out and it's going to be in the driveway. And that's not the way it works. It is very real. As a matter of fact, most of the time, you are bringing into your existence what you don't want because you're thinking about it all the time and you're putting feeling into it. And what happens? Oh my God, it's the same thing over and over, right? The things you say to yourself, the things you visualize inside your mind, that's going on all day long. And I know people that say things like, I hate my life, God must hate me, on and on and on. Horrible affirmations to make. So you've got to meditate. You've got to do something where you're connecting with yourself. So 3 minutes, start in the morning. Set your alarm on your phone for 3 minutes. All you got to do is sit. You can sit cross-legged on the floor. You can sit in a chair with your feet flat on the floor, with your hands on your knees. All you're going to do is stay still. That's the biggest thing, is the ability to start staying still, because you don't want to start moving around. You want to try to get into the zone. And you're going to do that by taking a couple of breaths at the very beginning. And then all you got to do, this is how easy it is, you're just going to count from 1 to 20. That's it. Over and over and over again, silently in your mind. Why am I doing this, Brent? I'll tell you why. Because you are now tricking your lower mind. You're tricking that man created, that mind that you've created, and giving it a very easy job to do. Count. Then you're going to go above it. You're going to transcend it. You are going to go into the subconscious, into the mind where the programming is. Because otherwise, that's why positive thinking by itself doesn't work. All those things are just outer mind things. You never really get into the programming. But by counting, so silently, your eyes are closed, you're counting 1 to 20. When you get to 20, you go back to 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, silently in your mind. You get to 20, you go back to 1. And it's 20 for a very specific reason. And I've used different numbers years and years ago, but 20 is the best. Because if you get to 47, you realize you've gone too far. If you get to 117, you realize you've gone too far. If you're thinking about anything else, you just go back to 1. That is all you have to do, okay? If your mind wanders, you don't try to figure out where you were in the counting process, you go back to 1. What that does, it starts to develop an incredible amount, an ability to focus. I remember in class once when I was in 3rd or 4th grade, and the teacher would say, "You need to focus, Brent." And I would say, "When did we learn that?" Because I don't remember. Focus. They all tell us to do it. Nobody ever taught us how to do it, right? This builds focus, the muscle, the focus muscle, let's say, unlike anything you've ever seen. Because constantly pulling back your focus, you think, well, this isn't doing anything, but it is. Every time you do that, you're pulling back your focus. You're strengthening your ability to focus. It leaches out into your life, into your everyday life. Meditation, the time you spend in meditation comes into your life. It starts to make things easier. When a drama happens, you don't get sucked into it like you did before. Meditation does things without you even knowing it. It's happening in the background. You'll be crying, happens to me all the time. If you're feeling this tremendous emotion, something is releasing. Some energy pattern, something from the past that you stored is releasing. That's why you're flooded with emotion. Because, and again, you don't even have to know what it is. And your mind is so intelligent that even while we're dreaming, it's trying to release that energy. So what is it doing? Say you had parents that were killed when you were young. They were killed in a car accident. So you've never let that go. It's, of course, it's completely written your life for you. Anytime that energy tries to pass, it's so painful you push it down. But the mind is a fantastic mechanism. And you know what it does? It takes that memory and it converts it into something else. It converts it into 2 eagles that are flying majestically, free against the mountain. And you're crying. It'll happen in your sleep many times because it's hidden what's really going on with some sort of metaphor to get it past you, right? So you don't wake up screaming, so you're not having a nightmare. It's cloaking what needs to release in something in a entirely different set of pictures. That's how amazing your mind is. It's working for you all the time, but we have completely changed it so that it's working against us. All right? You have to meditate. You have to do something where you sit and you connect to yourself. You got to do it. You have to make yourself do it every day. I don't care how many minutes you do to start, but you just slowly and slowly build. It's going to become a practice you have to do, that you really want to do. It's going to be the only time at the beginning that you start to get peace, because you'll feel it there. You connect to something that is larger than you and you feel it. You connect to that power. We are so immensely powerful, but we are made to think that we are inconsequential, that we are useless, that it's the whole and that we're just a tiny sliver. It's not true. We're all this amazing part of the universe. We're all God connected to each other. We're all consciousness connected to each other. But we live in this tiny, I mean, it's like you're living inside a dark, tiny little house. You've got all the windows boarded up. You're trying to feel safe in there. So you're not seeing anything that's happening in the outer world. You're completely living your life inside of a box. You're looking out at the world and you're seeing only what you want to see. You want to see the things you're afraid of. You want to see the things that you want. You have your preferences. All right. Meditation automatically will start getting rid of those things. You won't have to go to a therapist. And I mean, therapy's great, but when you go to the therapist, if you go in on a Wednesday and you talk for an hour and you leave, Wednesday night, you still feel like crap, right? You're still living with it. Thursday, it's still there. Friday, Saturday, it downplays itself a little bit. Next week, you go and it's all fired up again. You're living in it again. You're bringing it all up again. You're talking about it. How did I feel? But you haven't let it go. You've just solidified it inside. Meditation, connection to yourself, things start to work themselves out in the background that you don't have to go through. You don't have to live it again. It's BS. Somebody that tells you have to live through that trauma again. You don't. Once you start getting rid of the little things, then the bigger things have room. But think of all the little crap you've put inside, right? People driving too slow, too fast, whatever it is, some sort of driving. Weather is another good one. It's raining outside and it's ruining your day. You let that stuff go. Next time it happens, you let it go. The next time it happens, you don't have to let it go. It just doesn't bother you. That starts to happen. That means that energy pattern has worked its way through. That energy that you've held inside with willpower, comes back to you. And now you focus it where it matters. Every successful person I've ever worked with understands that. You focus that energy when it comes back where it matters. The things that matter. Take it back from the stuff that's holding you down. Focus it where it matters constantly. It's not a hard process. It's 3 super easy steps. Become aware of what the voice is saying inside your mind. Become aware of what is going on, and you'll know why you're not happy. You'll understand it because it's your preferences, it's your wants, your likes and your dislikes, and how we have to try to twist the outer world to fit our very limited set of likes, right? And God forbid if what comes into us is what we don't want, because that's a whole other thing. Okay. But that's what we've done. We've created inside of ourselves what we think life needs to be like for us to be happy. And it has to fit everything perfectly. If it's slightly off, we're not happy. So guess what? You've got to now twist the world and people and places and things to fit your very limited view that what you think is going to make you happy. How often do you think that happens? Right? And when it just may happen once, oh, it feels incredible, right? It never lasts because you've got this whole set of things the way you want them. So becoming aware of what's on your mind is going to take you almost there, because nobody is bringing awareness. Most people go through their life on autopilot. 20% of the day are they ever in the moment. They're not ever contemplating. They're not ever connecting with themselves. They're not ever thinking of anything bigger than themselves. They never really have a goal. Most people just, I want to be rich. I want to be happy. I want to be this. I want to be that. Those are daydreams. Those aren't goals. You don't have an exact goal. It's difficult without becoming aware. So that's why awareness is crucial. As soon as you start becoming aware of the voice, you know what to do. It's easy. You don't need to follow, 50 steps. There are 3, super easy. The awareness creates belief. It creates a sense of belief in yourself you've never felt before. That belief allows you to know that you can sit silently with yourself and not be afraid of the voice inside your head. You can start to meditate. You can start to contemplate. You can start to chant. You can start to do whatever it is you need to do to connect with the inner you. That will transform your life. Those 3 things will get you there. Those 3 things will transform from where you are now to where you want to be. I promise you, there's nothing else that you have to do if you will commit to doing those three things. If you commit to just becoming aware, again, you're ahead of most of the population because they don't know it. And it doesn't make a lot of sense what you've stored up there. And you'll realize it as soon as you start writing it down, as soon as you start listening to what that voice is really saying, it's going to take all the sting away. That's why we're not happy. We're not happy because we've created this illusion of what we think happiness is. We have placed happiness ahead of us. We've placed happiness in another person or another place or another thing. It constantly eludes us. It's like a hamster wheel where we're always chasing it, where we're never able to find it. Happiness is an inner thing. You grant it to yourself first. And you do that when you start becoming okay with yourself. Okay? Become aware, start believing in yourself automatically, make that connection. Everything will change. Happiness will be all of a sudden where you are. You'll be living from a place of happiness. The outer world will start to change. I swear to you, the outer world will start to conform to your inner. That's what's happening now, but it's bad. It's usually negative that you're bringing to you. So if you can do these three things, you can completely transform your life. You can start right now. You can start tonight. You can start tomorrow morning. All you've got to do is stick with it. Okay? Again, there's not any crazy rituals you have to do. You just have to give it a little bit of your time. It took decades to get you where you are, and doing the same things over and over and building those thought patterns and building those belief systems. So you're not going to get out of this tomorrow morning, but you're going to get out of it as soon as you start putting your attention to it's a job. It's a hobby. It's a little job you've given yourself, because you're going to be living anyway. But why not at the end of this have a completely different life, a completely different outlook, where you're feeling incredible, where you're feeling energetic. You've got all this energy, but it's being diverted all over by these things from your past. Those things can do you no good in the present moment. So they're all things you let go. And again, you don't have to go through them. You'll let them go automatically by following these three things: awareness, belief, connection. That's all you need. All you need to transform your life. And it's why you're not happy. It's why you're not happy already. Happiness is yours. It's your God-given birthright. We're not supposed to be anxious. We're not supposed to be stressed. We're not supposed to be living in fight or flight. It's not the way we were designed to live. We've done that. We have done that to ourselves as a species. All right? No one else. You can't blame anyone anymore. As an adult, no matter what happened to you, you've got to own it now that you're not going to let it happen anymore. I've had people tell me, the horrible relationship they had with their mother and how this happened and she did this and she was horrible and she died in 1984. Okay, so you got to let that stuff go. And I know it's so easy to say that, but it's getting you nothing. Okay? Don't say, I need to keep that so I know what I went through, or so I don't let it happen again. That's what people do. No, you've got to release it. Think of the amount of willpower, of life force energy that's holding something like that in. Those big things, they're not the things that are going to happen first. You're going to start getting rid of the little tiny things that bother you, little tiny things that you want this way or that way. Then when the big things come up, there's so much more space for that energy to pass through. I want to get you to the point where something dramatic happens that normally would happen and you get sucked into a fight. And it would be a week or 2 weeks and you wouldn't even realize you've been pulled into something. So next time that happens, all of a sudden time seems to slow down. And this is exactly what it's like. It's being in the zone. All of a sudden you have a choice. You have time to make a decision. Is this worth my peace? Ask yourself that question next time something pops up. Is this worth my peace? Because I'll tell you what, 99.9% of the time it's not. But having that time, that's what we're going for. Creating space. You've got all this programming that you've been doing over and over and over. Every day you reinforce it. The same thoughts, the same beliefs, the same ideas. You're doing that day after day after day. That little bit of space that you're creating, that you're putting space in the tape up there, gives you immense power. It gives you the ability now to deal with a problem from a power position instead of you get pulled into the drama and you don't even realize it. Now you're standing from a power position. You can decide if you want to get pulled into it. And most of the time you do not. All right. That is how we start to become happy. You realize it's an inner thing and it gets easier and easier and easier to do as you become aware of what is on your mind. All right. Now, if you want some help meditating, I have a free meditation journal, 2 of my guided meditations, and 2 of my workbooks. All right. It's the meditation journal. I made it so easy. There are prompts in there. There's exact instructions on how to meditate. There is all sorts of quizzes and things to write. It's just an amazing online journal. All right. It will take you from where you are now to where you want to be. It will help you create your meditation practice because we all need one. I'm also giving you 2 of my guided video meditations. You can just follow my voice for the beginning, and I'll help you get into the meditation mode. And then 2 of my booklets, Self-Mastery, which is great to keep on your phone. These are great tips, and 5 Ninja Skills to help you meditate. All right. This is all free. If you go to meditationminicourse.com, you can download your free copy right now. This is a limited time, but I want to get this into the hands of as many people as possible. All right. That's my goal. I've been doing this for so long. I think I've really been teaching the wrong people. It's the masses. It's you. It's me. It's the people that are out there every day living life with all of this, with all of our attention being diverted in so many different ways. All right. Meditation is key to the process. So if you don't know how to do it, or you want a better practice, or you want to change your practice up, go to meditationminicourse.com. All right. Now, when you're there, if you're interested, you can go to the full Meditation Secrets course. It is also available there, but that's everything literally from A to Z. But you don't need that. If you don't want, you completely can do that with the free course. All right. It's everything you need. This meditation journal is step by step, move by move. I will take you by the hand. I will teach you how to meditate. It's everything you need to know, and it's free because that's why I'm here. That's why my career, I've been doing it for 30 years all over the world, right? This is not what I do for a living. This is what I'm doing to get the word out. This is important to me. This is my passion project because the more of it, this is how we change the world, right? You don't do it by trying to change other people. That's what most people do. That's why we're at war all the time. That's why the world is in the shape that it is. First, you change yourself. Then the people around you start to get inspired and they start to change. It's almost by osmosis. They are changed by seeing you change. That is so big to actually see someone doing it. And then we change the world. That's how we really do it. And we can really do this by elevating our consciousness, by connecting to that universal consciousness. Now, if you're interested in going deeper into what I teach, again, there's nothing to buy, but brentsgroup.com. That gives you free access to my Facebook community. We have 10,000 people. They're like-minded people. They are there to learn. They are there to share. They are there to help each other. And I'm there each and every day as well. But I'm giving you all of the strategies, the processes, and the systems that I've created over 30 years. They're there for you for free. Everything you need. You'll also get my newsletter. It comes out once a week, the Mind Power newsletter. I give you tips, tricks, mind hacks, and strategies on how to take control of your life. That is what it's all about. All right? It's not about buying something. It's not about going somewhere. It's about cultivating what is already inside you. You are powerful beyond measure. You just don't know it. You think you are so inconsequential. So I want you to join. It's a revolution. It's a mind power revolution because it's how we change the world. Go to brentsgroup.com. There's no apostrophe. It is brentsgroup.com. You'll get your invite. You'll be able to come check it out and see it for yourself. So many amazing people there. And I love to see you there as well. It's how we are going to change things. It's the only way that it's going to work. All right. Now, again, I've been doing this a long, long time, 30 years all over the world. Every continent, almost every major city, teaching people to unlock and unleash their mind power, that you have tremendous abilities that are completely foreign to you because you've never used them. And it's not your fault because nobody ever taught you how. Our parents didn't know. We can't blame them. We can't blame our parents because they're only teaching us and giving us what they were given. And in most cases, not even as much as they were given. So now it's your chance. You can take control. You can change your entire family line. Generational trauma can stop with you. You can be the person that finally stands up and takes control of your life, inspires the people around you to take control of their life. It's the way that we make real impact in the world. All right. I've been doing this a long time and I want you to understand everything that you need is inside you. There's nothing else that you need to do. Everything you need is already there. All you've got to do is activate that immense power. You will completely transform your life. So that is how you be happy. Awareness, belief, and connection. 3 steps. Watch this over if you like. Go back and when I really go into the ABCs of mind power there and understand it's not that difficult when you do them in sequence. All right. Let me know how it works for you, please. And if you join my newsletter, you can email me. Tell me your progress. I'll give you tips if I can. I want to help. I made this my mission to get this knowledge into the minds of the people who really need it. So reach out with questions or comments. I really appreciate you watching today. I'm going to try to do a live each and every week. I'm home for a while before I'm back out on the cruises and back on tour again. All right. So thanks for being with me tonight. I know you had so many different things you could have done with this last hour and 15 minutes. And I'm really excited that you spent it with me. And I hope you got something from it. All right. So remember to sit back, relax, open your mind during the day. And remember, don't worry. You got to be happy. Then you'll start to feel good. All right. I'll see you soon. Have a great night.